The irony is that on paper, the intentions to combat corruption and halt the illicit flow of Africa's resources is excellent. At national level, there's legislation to address the very issue, and countries have enacted anti-money laundering legislation, anti-corruption laws, anti-corruption commissions, etc. But in reality, these institutions have been systematically undermined and endangered and rendered, dysfunctional at best and totally useless in most cases. Many of the AU member states have also gone further and ratified regional and continental treaties aimed at addressing the issues of graft, which extends to illicit flows. For example, the African Convention on Combating and Preventing Corruption, Article 5 states that, and I quote, "State parties undertake to establish, maintain, and strengthen independent national anti-corruption commissions," end quote. Aside from the fact that 35 countries have ratified the convention, very few are actually implementing the cardinal principles, such as the call for independent, well-resourced anti-corruption agencies with oversight by Parliament, access to information and whistleblower protection laws. Regional treaties aimed at stemming the flow and forcing the spring include protocols on combating illicit drug trafficking in East Africa region, which is largely supported by the ESAA-MLG, Eastern and Southern Africa Anti-Money Laundering Group. Some of you are aware of them. These are similar frameworks. There are also similar frameworks in SADC and in the ECOWAS regions as well. So we are not short of normative frameworks and laws and policies. On paper, there are signs, and these are signs, that the heads of state and government have got good intentions in curbing corruption, stemming illicit financial flows, and forcing the spring. But as we all know, and some of us being more religious than others in the Christian faith, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Dear colleagues, time is running out for the African citizenry, which seems to be rendered helpless to confront, speak out, and demand that they be governed well. And part of this problem is civil society, us. Our activism has waned, our strategic engagement has been erratic, our focus on the big picture has been blurred and unsustained. And our patience to grapple and master our policies and complicated issues that are used to undermine and fool us into a false sense of security is limited. So we now have to force the spring. We cannot wait for heads of states and rapacious elites to do that for us, because they are the majority beneficiaries in the illicit activities and the rampant corruption scourge that happens to be the scar on the African continent presently. I'd like to simply conclude, since I've been ordered to conclude, that we must keep our eye on the ball at all times, because it's in our interest to sustain the pressure of compliance, transparency, and accountability, which is the foundation of the oldest political philosophy, the social contract, from the age of enlightenment over 350 years ago, that interrogates and makes the case for the origin of society and the legitimacy of the authority of the state over the individual. But the state must also, at all times, honor its part of the obligation and the bargain. Unfortunately for Africa, many contracts have been broken, rewritten, amended, and even discarded without our approval. And this will only stop when non-state actors begin to take collective action and force the spring, support the strengthening of institutions, pressure states to operationalize regional and continental treaties, and lean on parliaments to pass laws that reflect the will of the people and uphold the culture of probity, transparency, accountability, and good governance.